What's up, tribe? This is gonna be your season, your Southern Charm New Orleans season finale, season two, season finale. Look, that was a lot. But this episode, the majority of it was Reagan's wedding, so let's go ahead and jump into it. Some really nice things went down in this episode. I've been really hard on Reagan this season, and I was kind of hard on Reese. Um, so let's get to it. All right. So we started the episode off. We're still at the beach. We left off last week with Barry and Tamika renewing their vows on the beach, but the rest of the crew was kind of having a going away dinner. Now it is freezing cold, and they decided they were gonna have an outdoor dinner. It looked like it was like a cold plate because like sushi and stuff like that because they were outside and it was like 40 degrees outside, freezing. And on the water, it's even worse because you got that breeze coming off the water. But I'm sure it was something that was planned already before they got there, but they were out there and they had their blankets and everything, and it was just kind of it was a moment. I mean, it wasn't deep. It didn't look like it got real deep, but it was a moment. And then Barry and Tamika showed up, and everybody was happy. And Tamika was actually making a really good effort with Reagan. We see her have a conversation with Barry the next day, though, and she said that she just doesn't think she can stand for Reagan. She just doesn't think she can do it. She said we are working on our relationship, and I love her, but I just don't think I'm ready to do that. Barry tells her, he said, look, I know that you guys are in a bad place right now. He said, but ultimately, I think you'll regret it. If you don't do it, I think you'll regret it. Now, I was all for it. I was all like, yes, Tamika, don't stand, girl. No, girl, we can't support this. But then when Barry said that, I was like, you know what? He sort of has a point that fast forward 6 months from now, 3 months from now, 2 months from now, and you guys are back to being best friends. Will you regret not doing this? Or you find out Reese is a really great guy. Like, will you regret it? So it's still kind of up in the air whether they're gonna do this or not. We see that's pretty much it, y'all. So we back in New Orleans. We're getting ready for the wedding. The wedding's in 2 days. Oh no, rewind. Something else went down because it's very important. Jeff reaches out to his stepsister. He had talked about on the boat last week, he had talked about his stepsister, and he was like, no matter what has gone down with his family, she's somebody that he has kept in touch with, that he has a relationship with, and he loves her, and that she loves him, and that he knows that no matter what went down with his family, she's always been there for him. And so he gave her a call. He said, it really made me think about her. So he gave her a call, and they had a moment, and he told her about Reagan getting married and Reagan being pregnant. And then it's so funny because I was thinking there in that moment, I was like, Jeff, why don't you go visit her? Because he was like, it's going to really be a hard day. He said, she's like, well, what are you going to do, the day of the wedding? He was like, I don't know, but he's like, I just got to think of it as another day. And I was thinking, Jeff, just get on a plane, just go visit her, just go get out of New Orleans. Right. That's what I was thinking. Cause it's going to be a social event. Like, it's not just your ex-wife getting married. It is your ex-wife who is for lack of a better word, she's a socialite. Like, it is a big deal, and everybody's going to be at this wedding. Um, so I was thinking that in that moment. So we're gonna get back to that because something kind of happened with that. We see, I love how they show us this unseen footage when it's appropriate, when it's like convenient to show us this unseen footage. But we see Justin talking to a friend of his. Looked like somebody he played football with, somebody he said he's known since high school, who's a doctor now. So they didn't say what kind of a doctor, but the fact that he's kind of giving Jeff some therapy, I'm assuming he's some sort of therapist. I, they never made that clear, I don't think, but okay. Ultimately, the conversation went down like this: Jeff should get off the pot and don't leave Kelsey in limbo. Like, it's not fair to her. We saw an unseen footage where they were on the beach and Kelsey was like, look, I'm giving you a date. Now, I understand why Kelsey did that, but I don't want that. I don't. And so he said July 1st, which of course we know already just recently passed. So that would have been 6 months. She said July 1st. She said, okay, July 1st, what? What's going to happen on July 1st? And he hesitates. I don't know if it's editing, but he hesitates and he says, engaged? Like, it wasn't even sure. I don't want it like that. Like, if I have to tell you when we are getting engaged, I don't want to get engaged that way. But I understand why Kelsey did it. Because she's like, look, I'm ready. And I love you. And I want it to be you. But if it's not going to be you, then I need to roll. And what Justin is saying to his friend is basically, he used a whole lot of words, and he went all the way around the bush with it. But at the end of the day, he was like, I'm just not ready to get married. He was like, Beyonce could come in that door and I wouldn't be ready to marry her. And the producer was like, Beyonce. He said, Beyonce. She said, Beyonce. He said, I date her, but I wouldn't marry her. He's like, I'm just not ready to get married. And I think what he's saying is Kelsey hits all the marks of what I'm looking for, but I am not ready to be married. But what his friend said to her, and what his friend said to her was, said to him was, but if she was the one, it wouldn't matter. Like none of all this other stuff you talking about wouldn't even matter if she was the one. He said, but you need to tell her, like it's not fair to her that you feel the way you feel and you kind of keep stringing her along. Like that's not fair, which is what everybody has been telling him all along. His mama told him, Tamika told, like that's what everybody's been telling him. And I think the problem is that he really does he loves her, but he's not ready to give her what she's ready for. And so it's time to move on. Later on in the episode, at the wedding, Kelsey is basically telling them that there's an ultimatum on the table that by July 1st they're going to be engaged. And Tamika and Barry are kind of looking at each other like, do what? And again, we see this unseen footage where Justin was over at Tamika and Barry's house, basically telling them he's not ready to get married, and them telling Justin that you need to tell Kelsey. You need to be honest with Kelsey. You need to tell Kelsey. And you can kind of see how far Tamika and Kelsey relationship has gone, because Tamika is even sort of angry, like this isn't fair to him, and you need to. This isn't fair to Kelsey, and you need to let Kelsey know. We don't know what kind of went down, and I do follow Justin on social media. I haven't seen a whole lot of Kelsey, but that doesn't mean anything because I don't think he ever really showed a lot of Kelsey. So it doesn't mean that they're not together. It just means that he don't be putting her on his Facebook. On his social media. Anyway. We see a really cute scene with Tamika and the kids. They got their report card. Um, Baby girl did really good on her report card. She made honor roll. And then the kids kind of gave them their report card. And it was a cute scene. Once again, we're talking about Tamika 2.0 and how last year she probably would have got straight Fs, but this year she's in a better place. This is the day before Reagan's wedding. She said, I could be there at the rehearsal dinner or whatever, but I feel like this is where I need to be. Here with my family is this is where I belong. So, yeah. So we have that. It was a cute little scene. All right. The rest of this episode, I think, is pretty much Reagan's wedding. So let's just go on down it because we ain't gonna prolong this. It was a beautiful wedding. Let me be clear. Beautiful wedding. Reagan's dad looks like Reagan's dad done stepped up. Reese's dad done stepped up. Looked like he paying for a whole lot of the wedding. They are going to combine their gender reveal at the reception. So the cake, the icing on the cake, I think she said, or the filling on the cake is going to be the gender. So it's going to be the pink or blue. And then they're going to have cannons that will shoot out pink or blue once it's revealed. It's going to shoot out the color, whichever is right. Through this whole montage that they're showing us about Reagan and the wedding and everything, I am starting to kind of really like Reese. Reese, I thought was a goofball. I even thought he was sort of borderline asshole at the beginning of the season. I definitely thought he was an idiot, but I still think he's goofy as hell. But I'm actually sort of kind of liking Reese by the end of this, y'all. I can honestly say that I'm still on the fence with Miss Reagan, but even with that, I think ultimately Reagan, this is who she always wanted to marry. I still ain't sure how this whole thing went down with her taking that detour through Jeff Land, but I do think this is who she really wanted to marry, and I do think that they really do love each other. So anyway, Reagan still doesn't know Tamika's standing at the wedding. She ain't heard from Tamika now. I understand that Tamika wrestled with it, but I do think that Tamika kind of owed Reagan an explanation long before she gave her one. But again, I understand that everything was sort of, the timeline was real short, and Tamika really wasn't sure what she wanted to do. Reese's family sound like they need to go on Maury Povich because when they started talking about them seating arrangements, he was like, mm-mm. Well, my mom and my dad are divorced. They can sit at the table together. They just can't sit next to each other. Well, this uncle and that uncle, they don't like each other. Well, this cousin and that cousin, they've had some history. I was like, you sound like you got a whole lot going on your side of the family. Y'all need a whole referee on that side of the family. But something wonderful happened, you guys. They showed Jeff getting up and ironing his clothes and getting ready to go out the house. I mean, of course, we knew he wasn't going to the wedding. His sister, the one that he had reached out to, called him and said, "What?" It said, "Pick me up from the airport in the morning." And so she surprised him by flying out the day of the wedding so that they could spend the day together and sort of give Jeff a distraction. And I thought that it was so, I was like, it was so sweet. It was just so sweet that last minute she was like, pick me up. I'll be there in the morning, pick me up from the airport. And it was just, I thought it was wonderful because I was thinking that in my head when she called, like, Jeff, just go see her. Or invite her to come visit you. Like, I remember thinking that. We find out some things about Jeff. One, we find out Jeff has always been a runner. She said, when he would get mad, he would get on his little big wheel and take off and go off in the neighborhood. And Jeff was like, well, that hasn't changed. So Jeff has always been a runner. That's how he deals with his anger or his emotions. We find out that Jeff's mama really ain't shit. That wasn't nice. I shouldn't say that about Jeff mama. Jeff mama is a piece of work. That was a nicer way of saying that because Jeff married. They have the same. Him and his stepsister have the same mother, different. No, is the same father, different mother. Same father, different mother. Same mother. I think it's same father, different mother. Lord. Anyway, but what? Yeah, that's what it is. Same father, different mother, and she's older than Jeff. And what happened was Jeff said that basically his mom created a wedge between her and their father, which ultimately led to her leaving the house. So his mama created a situation like she married this guy that had kids and pushed the kids away. But it sounds like the father was kind of weak because he let it happen. Like you're not gonna push my kids out of my life. So it sounds like the father let it go down that way. Um, then we get deeper into the money conversation, and basically Jeff's mother took his money. We know that happened. Jeff's mother took a couple of $100,000 from him, which people think NFL they're billionaires, and no, it was probably a big chunk of his savings that she took. It doesn't sound like she wiped him out though, but it does sound like and what it she presented herself as his wife and stole his money. And when he confronted her about it, her attitude was just kind of like, yeah, whatever. And so Jeff's like, well, I have the paper trail. I could pursue it. I really could pursue it. But ultimately, I don't really want to do that. I just want to know why you did it. Like, why did you steal my money? Like, I would have given it to you. But at the end of the day, he still has not talked to them. He doesn't have a relationship with them. And so that's why it was even more important to see his sister reach out to him and really just be there for him. They had a great day together. It was real low key, but he showed her around the city. Then they went, got some wine and some food, and they went back to the house and they just hung out and they just talked. And I thought that was great. Like I said, I thought that was just really great what she did for Jeff. And the lesson that Jeff got out of that was at the end of the day, I thought I didn't have anybody in my corner. And what I realized was not only did I have my friends, but I still have family out there who loves me. And so that was a great lesson for Jeff. I mean, he was he was just so happy that she was there, and I was happy for him. Tamika shows up and she's gonna stand, y'all. She gonna, they made it real dramatic. They made it real dramatic. But at the end of the day, Tamika did show up, and Tamika was in the wedding. Once again, it's a record. They said there's like the coldest day in New Orleans in 50,000 years, and of course, it's an outdoor wedding. So, honey, they all had on their furs and everything, but it don't matter. Maybe 40 degrees is 40 degrees. You can have all the fur on you want. At a certain point, you're gonna be freezing. Um, Justin's dad, who we knew was a judge, he officiated. And it looked nice. It looked like a really, really nice wedding. The vows, that daggone Reese, honey, I don't know what Reese promised to do. Reese don't know what he promised to do. Okay, them vows, but at the end of the day, they are married. Um, they were freezing, waiting outside to get in for the reception because you know how they take the pictures and stuff. So they were taking the pictures inside while everybody was still outside. They damn near stormed the daggone, knocked the damn wall down, but they eventually let them in. And it looked like it was a beautiful event. That damn John Moody. John Moody is a mess, y'all. He's hilarious. Like I would invite John Moody to a party because he's hilarious. He started talking about all the dead animals that was around the room because all the minks and the furs and the bear. He said he even saw an albino elephant, which okay, John. I mean, okay, John. Uh, Tamika was like, she even went to Reese, and it was a real cute moment with her and Reese on the dance floor. And Barry was like, "This is a test. Like Reese, you better bring it." And they were laughing about it because it was really funny. Like Reese is hilarious. Like Reese is funny. He's dorky funny. You know what I mean? Like he's doing fake splits and he's kicking his leg up. And they all agree that he's a better dancer than Jeff, which he is a better dancer than Jeff. But it was cute. That was pretty much the wedding because I already told y'all about the conversation with Kelsey and Justin. So we get to the end, and now it's 6 months later. We know that Reese has had the baby. She had a baby girl. Oh, the gender reveal, she had a girl. She had a baby girl. But what we find out, there's a little twist to this little ending, y'all. Jeff is selling the house. He said he done sold the house. He done sold everything in the house. He done sold the furniture. And he's getting ready to get on his Harley. And he is traveling to Los Angeles. Now, it's not clear if he's moving to Los Angeles or if he's just going on a sabbatical. He said he's taking his gap year. His divorce gap year. And Tamika is there with him. And what we find out is Tamika and Jeff are now best friends. She said, "Yeah, I've become best friends with my husband, with my former best friend's ex-husband." So somehow, her and Reagan, I guess, never really did fully repair their relationship. But in the interim, Tamika and Jeff are now like inseparable. And this is before Jeff is leaving for his little cross country trip. He said that he's just totally starting over. He is totally starting fresh. And so if he does come back to New Orleans, because that wasn't really clear if he was coming back to New Orleans or not. If he does come back to New Orleans, then he will have a new house. It's just gonna be a full beginning. And come to find out, Reese still had clothes at the day. She still had stuff at that daggone house. One of those things being her wedding dress, which I'm sure she has no use for at this point. The wedding dress to Jeff. Probably can't do nothing with that at this point. But um it just goes to show Reese, Reagan, let go. Like, there's no reason in the world why there still should have been things at that house that belonged to you. You are fully remarried to somebody else. And at this point, it had been 6 months. Like, why do you still have clothes at your ex-husband's house? Anyway, but we did not get an update on the Justin Kelsey situation, which I kind of want to know what went down. So I don't know if they're gonna bring us to season 3, and that's gonna be what's gonna be happening in season 3. It looks like there's some storylines there because I would like to know how Tamika and Jeff became best friends and what's going on with her and Reagan. And I certainly would like an update on the Justin Kelsey situation. Anyway, that's what it is. That's the end of, and we know we don't do Southern Charm don't have no reunion. So at this point, we don't know if it's coming back, but we will see. Let me know what y'all think. Drop it in the comments, please.